But there's now been accusations that say that there is preaching from the pulpit that is opposite of what I teach.
And oftentimes, when Satan attacks us, he bases it on a little bit of truth. I'm going to ask this question: is there really power in positive thinking? Norman Vincent Peale wrote that book a few years ago.
And I've already mentioned many supposedly pretenders of Christian theologians. I'll only mention one, Mr. Norman Vincent Peale, 33rd degree Mason, stated right on the Phil Donahue show that Christianity is only one path of many to God, and he just chose that one. Did God call him? Not on your life. He is leading people right into the New Age movement.
There's even people putting things out there saying that from the pulpit, Norman Vincent Peale's false doctrines are being taught. They're not.
Our mind and our bodies are connected, and our thinking choices definitely do impact, according to scientists, doctors, health professionals, our health in many, many ways. When we choose to control our thinking on the direction and power of God's Holy Spirit, we improve our physical health, our spiritual health. And still others have simply such a negative mindset that they live a miserable life, and they bring upon themselves the very negativity that they're thinking about. It's not just simply a positive thinking message that you're hearing.
There's even people putting things out there saying that from the pulpit, Norman Vincent Peale's false doctrines are being taught. They're not.
Proverbs does tell us this in Proverbs 23:7, "For as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he." There is some truth in what those men have to say.
What we think about, we become. As you think in your heart, Proverbs 23:7 says, so you become.
People will even use the verse, "As a man thinks in his heart, so is he," and say you've got to program your mind with positive thoughts. What's wrong with that?
Well, you just misquoted the scriptures.
Okay.
That's Proverbs 23. And Solomon is giving a specific example, and he's saying to his son, you know, after I'm dead, and you're head of state, and you're out there hobnobbing with big wheels, you know, kings and so forth, and they invite you into a feast, and this man says, eat up, and, you know, fill yourself, and we'll be buddies, and we'll make a pact, and so forth. Don't believe what he says. You cannot go by what he says, by his words. For as he thinks in his heart, so is he. Far from telling you that you can change yourself by changing your thinking, he's warning you that you don't know what is really going on in a person's heart, and you better be very careful.
And yet we use that verse all the time to reinforce the fact that if you can change the thoughts in your mind, you can change yourself, which is not even biblical.
As you think in your heart, Proverbs 23:7 says, so you become.
Proverbs does tell us this in Proverbs 23:7, "For as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he." There is some truth in what those men have to say.
Mr. Norman Vincent Peale, he is leading people right into the New Age movement.
The power of prayer is from one end of the Bible to the other. What's wrong with that? It's what we should be doing. But this is what's being spread, as if prayer was a sin and it was awful because another man, Norman Vincent Peale, 33rd degree Mason, has said we should pray.
And in order to draw this strength, we must pray always so that we can plug into the high voltage circuit of His Holy Spirit for wisdom, strength, and protection.
Not only that, but in the 26th degree, Masonry belongs to no religion. It finds its great truths in all religions.
And oftentimes, when Satan attacks us, he bases it on a little bit of truth. I'm going to ask this question: is there really power in positive thinking? Norman Vincent Peale wrote that book a few years ago. Robert Schull wrote a book called The Power of Possibility Thinking. There is some truth in what those men have to say.
It finds its great truths in all religions.
There is some truth in what those men have to say.
Now do we understand why on national television Mr. Norman Vincent Peale stood up And he stated on the Phil Donahue show that a Buddhist can receive salvation, that Christ is not the only way. Because Masons believe there's truths in all religions, and it doesn't matter which one you belong to, you are evolving upward toward Godhood. Right here on the front page, the New Age magazine put out by the Southern District of Freemasonry from Washington, D.C. Norman Vincent Peale, 33rd degree. He believes in Lucifer's lie in the immortality of the soul. Mr. Norman Vincent Peale, he is leading people right into the New Age movement.
Has that